What's up, boys and girls? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Stick to Sports.
We've got a great show for you tonight. We'll be talking playoff baseball, Bills Mafia, and bat flips. You won't want to miss it.
Roll it.
And the best thing I saw this week, we take to the ice. Some college hockey. The Wisconsin Badgers women's hockey team defeated Penn State 7-0. While each goal is only worth 1 point, one goal meant more for play-by-play commentator Brian Posick.
Pocket pick that came to Weiss. Now Posick plays it between her legs, and she'll snap one off and scores! Maddie Posick! Her first goal as a Badger! Wisconsin leads 2-0!
And I must point out, my partner is Maddie Posick's dad, and he's a proud guy. After Maddie lights the lamp for the first time in her career, it's 2-0 Wisconsin, and I think that one might go into the Posick family album.
You know, and I got to say, one thing, what about the credibility? Why is this play-by-play guy the father?
I mean, I don't think it's his fault. I'm assuming he's been there for a while. He knows how this thing works. I don't really think that this was planned. But what an awesome moment. I mean,
incredible.
What more could you ask for as a sports commentator?
Realistically, if I was this dad, I would be in absolute tears talking about my daughter's first goal.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And without further ado, let's dive into our headlines. The New York Yankees' dominance over the Minnesota Twins has continued. The Bronx Bombers defeated the Twins 5-1 last night to complete the 3-0 ALDS sweep. New York was led by Gleyber Torres' solo home run and 2 doubles. Torres was just 7 years old the last time the Twins beat the Yankees in the playoffs. Matt, are the Yankees the team to beat in the AL now?
Did the Astros leave the AL?
Not yet.
They didn't leave mid-division?
They might.
I mean, we'll see. Realistically, I think this team's better than we thought in the Yankees. Something that's really impressed me is, last time around, a lot of strikeouts. This time, they're third in the playoffs in least strikeouts with about 9 per game, which is still pretty high. But in this day and age in baseball, that's not terrible.
The Yankees are the best team in the AL. Here's why. They outscored a potent offense in the Twins 23-7. Minnesota batted .218 overall. And I'm not saying that Masahiro Tanaka, James Paxton, and Luis Severino are Justin Verlander or Garrett Cole, but I think their bullpen is head and shoulders above the Astros, and that's what gives them the edge.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 6 bullpen guys on this roster that are comfortable pitching in any situation.
Right.
It's incredible. And, you talk about Zach Britton, he was pulled with an ankle injury last night. He said it was only precautionary. He just tweaked his ankle covering first base. And I've been so pleased, as you mentioned, this pitching staff, and I think Aaron Boone's done a great job managing the pitching. They've given up just 4 earned runs, the starters, in 13 2/3 innings.
Yeah, not to mention every player in this Yankees lineup got a hit during this series. So that's definitely incredible. I mean, Gleyber Torres was the MVP of that series, but Didi, Judge, DJ, Edwin were all fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately for one New York baseball team, they really haven't been too great. The past Thursday, the New York Mets fired Mickey Callaway, and despite an above 500 record, the team felt they underachieved this season, missing the postseason for their 3rd straight year. Now, Luke, you've been on the fire Mickey bandwagon pretty much all season long.
I have been, and here's why. Because he did not learn from last season. This year, he made some really questionable pitching decisions, pulling Steven Matz from a game in August from the top of my head, and also the locker room incident. He did not have control over that locker room. The reporter incident. This is a guy that does not deserve to be the manager of an MLB team. Excuse me.
There you go. Words are hard. But
there.
in all seriousness, this is a guy that the team played for. They loved him. But they weren't good.
Right.
He clearly mismanaged the team. And you look at some of the guys that can replace them, and to me, it's got to be Joe Girardi.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Well, if you sign Joe Girardi, though, are you just trying to be the Yankees? Are you just trying to follow? Why are you trying to follow the narrative of the Yankees winning the championship with Joe Girardi?
You're saying that out of these 3 guys here, Buck Showalter, Girardi, and Beltran, to me, Girardi is the best manager out of the 3.
I like Carlos Beltran as a sneaky pick. He's more analytical. He's a younger guy.
Is this team analytical?
He's played he's coached in the Yankees system. He knows how they do business. If they want to model a perfect model, which is the New York Yankees, you want Carlos Beltran as your guy.
I see it, but at the same time, this isn't an analytical team. They don't
But they
invest
have
the
to
money.
be.
But
This
they
is
don't invest the money
2019.
into it. You could say they have to be. They also have to be a team that signs good players, and they don't seem to do that.
I don't know. I really don't see it. I think Beltran's a guy. I think Girardi's an old head. They don't need an old head. They need to go analytics.
All right, moving on. The highest-powered offense in the NFL was held to just 13 points Sunday night when the Chiefs lost 19-13 against the Indianapolis Colts. While Patrick Mahomes threw for over 320 yards, the rushing game was virtually non-existent. for the Chiefs. Is this the blueprint? Is this the blueprint out to defeat the Chiefs?
I think the blueprint is out, and I'm not going to go full panic mode, but listen to this, Matt. The Colts held the ball for 37 minutes. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes only had the ball for 22 minutes. That is the key. Pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball. They did that with Marlon Mack to the tune of 25 first downs. That's what you have to do to beat this Chiefs team.
Yeah, and you look at their rushing game, they only rushed 14 times the Chiefs for 36 yards. You know, you're averaging 88.6 on the season, but you didn't have LaShawn McCoy, so I think that's a big factor because he seems to be the guy in Kansas City as the #1 back as of right now. And to me, this is a team that's not a playoff winning team. You talk about it in hockey.
That's a hot take.
No, you look at the way they play. They're a high-octane, high-offensive team. If you have a team like the Patriots that can slow it down, run the ball, control the clock, and a really strong defense, Patrick Mahomes won't have time to win for the team.
Right, and that's what we saw the Patriots do in that AFC Championship. They ran the ball, control the clock, and I just think that if Pat Mahomes is not Superman, and you saw that ankle injury, that's where they get in trouble because he can do it all, but with that, I mean, it's a little dicey for them right now.
They're still such a good team, and that offense is unreal.
They sure are. And staying in the NFL, the Washington Redskins announced they would be firing head coach Jay Gruden. The team was off to an 0-5 start and lost big to New England this past Sunday. Gruden was 49-1 in his tenure and led the Skins to the playoffs just one time. So, Matt, was this the right decision for the Washington franchise?
I guess it has to be, but you're missing the big story here, Luke. He was called in at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. to get fired. How disrespectful is that?
5 losses, 5 a.m.
I guess that's
1
fair.
a.m. for each loss.
You know what's astonishing?
What?
No head coach in the Dan Snyder era has been above 500 for the Redskins.
It's absolutely astonishing, and you know it's come out that players were showing up 10 to 15 minutes late to meetings, which of course is a bad idea. This team finished in the last 8 times, third place 7 times in an NFC East that hasn't been dominant. This goes beyond Gruden. This goes right to Dan Snyder, one of the worst owners in professional sports.
Yeah, I really think that you hit it on the head there. This is one of the teams that they should be good. They have the potential. They have the fans for the most part when they're winning. But under Dan Snyder, he's a guy that no one seems to like between the players, management, coaches, and the fans clearly because no one shows up.
And the thing I hate to speak ill on Dan Snyder because he absolutely loves this Redskins team. He just hasn't managed it properly.
Yeah, and we're going to go to a quick break here on Stick to Sports.
But when we come back, why Kevin Durant thinks the Knicks aren't cool anymore, and I agree. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Now we'll introduce Big Talk, where we discuss some of the biggest stories in sports that need to be dissected.
And we'll start in baseball, as last night the Yankees clinched the first spot in baseball's Final Four, sweeping the Twins. In the other ALDS series, the Astros currently trail the Rays 4-0, and in the NL, both the Dodgers-Nationals and Braves-Cardinals series will require a winner-take-all Game 5 tomorrow. So, Matt, with the Dodgers specifically, can this team make a third World Series appearance? They're going to have to get past Washington tomorrow.
You know, they have to, right? They have to win this game. They've been in the World Series 2 straight years. The Nationals, they're not good anymore. They lost Bryce Harper, right?
Yeah.
Wrong, maybe?
I think you're wrong. I love
Really?
what this Nationals team has done because you
They
look
got
at the
that
Dodgers
Islanders
All-Stars. You look at Cody Bellinger hitting 200, 5 strikeouts, no RBIs. Corey Seager, 188 with 5 strikeouts, no RBIs. No hits for A.J. Pollock. This offense has been non-existent. It is dynamic, and it should be dynamic, but it hasn't been so far. On the other side, the Nationals have been more exciting.
You know when they've been really good, this Dodgers lineup?
When?
When the Nationals bullpen is in pitching.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because you've got this team that just isn't very good in terms of the bullpen for the Nationals.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust it anymore.
The bullpen's not great, but boy, what a starting pitching matchup we have tomorrow with Strasburg and Walker Buehler for the Dodgers. That's going to be one to watch. Strasburg already 2-0 with a 1.00 ERA in 2 playoff appearances, 14 strikeouts, 0 walks, and then Walker Buehler was fantastic in that game one, came in with a win. That's something I am looking forward to tomorrow.
You know, I do question Strasburg. He's pitched he hasn't had much rest.
Right.
Him and Scherzer, and that's what the Nationals are doing because of this bullpen. But this is going to be so exciting. I think it's whichever pitcher goes deeper, I think that team wins the game.
Yeah, and the atmosphere in Washington has been just incredible, and that's going to go to LA obviously in Game 5, but I just love this Nationals young core. The pressure is off of them. It's on the Dodgers, which is something that we really haven't seen before.
And you know that's what we saw kind of the year with the Capitals won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Going back to a Washington story, it's a team that was over the hump, didn't win the President's Trophy for best team in the league, and they came out there, and I said after that first round that they were winning the Cup. And if the Nationals can do something here, maybe they're going to win it. Maybe they'll win the World Series.
Yeah, maybe. And looking at the other series, I mean, Braves-Cardinals also going to a Game 5. This Braves bullpen, you talk about a bad Nationals bullpen, this Braves bullpen, they led 3-1 in the 8th inning of Game 1. They lost that game. They led 4-3 in the 8th inning of Game 4 and lost that game. They have been brutal.
And this is a team that I wonder in terms of managing, because you saw what happened with a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr. Seems like he hits a home run, doesn't necessarily run it out. It's not a home run, he only gets a single. I mean, this is a team that doesn't feel as gelled as other teams. You know, the Cardinals, it seems like they've been there forever. You look at a guy like, you know, they've got just so many, like Adam Wainwright.
Adam Wainwright, yeah.
Those are the guys, I think they won those
These are
World
the
Series
OGs,
10 years ago.
Yeah,
and
these
they're
are the
still on this
OGs.
team. They're battle tested, and I think that kind of goes to show maybe the Braves are maybe a little too far off.
In the AL today, a little bit of an interesting decision by the Astros. They start Justin Verlander on just 3 days rest. He lets up 3 runs in the first inning, and now they trail 4-0. That could be another Game 5 in Houston.
Yeah, if that's a Game 5 in Houston, you have to think, one, the Astros win it.
You got Garrett
That's just
Cole
something that
going,
you assume
who just
going.
set every single franchise record for playoff.
Right, but then you
playoff
look at it,
performance.
if they win that Game 5, you go on first game against the Yankees, Zach Greinke,
Yeah.
the guy that kind of, you know, he's not too good in a big spot. You
Yeah.
saw it in this series, and maybe it'll happen again.
Yankees are probably sitting there kind of saying,
They're going,
we might be the best team in the
yeah.
AL.
So we'll move on now to, with the NBA starting back up, Kevin Durant was on Ebro in the morning on Hot 97 to discuss his free agency, injuries, and much more. Something interesting that came out of it was his thoughts on why the Knicks cannot land premier free agents.
I think a lot of fans look at the Knicks as a brand and expect these younger players who, in their lifetime, don't remember the Knicks being good.
Right.
So, like, I didn't grow up with the Knicks. Well, I seen the Knicks in the finals, but kids coming up after me didn't see that. So,
Right.
that whole brand of the Knicks to them is not as cool as, let's say, the Golden State Warriors or even the Lakers or the Nets now. You know what I'm saying? It's like the cool thing, right?
I mean, the fact that he has to throw in the nets there, he has to do it for his team, but looking at it, it's fair. But to me, being from Long Island, right next to the city, New York City, it's the Big Apple. There's something there, right? Playing in New York.
I don't think the Knicks are a premier destination anymore. And yeah, you can say this is Kevin Durant, a guy that, you know, ditched 2 of his teams, but this speaks volumes because Kevin Durant chose to go to Brooklyn over New York. And to me, that says something about culture. You saw DeAndre Jordan shift over from the Knicks culture to the Nets culture. I just don't think the Knicks name has the same pull that people think.
And to me, I think the reason with this is you got that high media pressure. You know, heavy criticism. The fans are very critical. But the fans are also so passionate. There's nothing like winning in New York. Absolutely nothing. You know, especially with the hungry Knicks fans, you look back in 1994 with the Rangers, Mark Messier is a god at MSG, an absolute god. And to me, you don't get that anywhere else. You don't get that in Brooklyn.
Well, you talked about the Rangers. Those are the teams, the Rangers, hockey, boxing. That's what built MSG. The Mecca and the Knicks and everything coming together and people wanting to play there is such a myth. They call it the world's most famous arena. I call it the world's most overrated arena. No one wants to step foot in there. It's old. It's outdated. It's overpriced tickets. Overpriced tickets to watch a crappy team that won 17 games last year.
It was just renovated. How do you call it an old arena? It's beautiful.
It's not.
I saw Maroon 5 there. It's gorgeous.
This arena was built on hockey and boxing. The Knicks became relevant later.
You know, when we talk about the Rangers, we have to talk about Jim Dolan. And to me, the fact that Jim Dolan is the reason that the Knicks aren't good and don't get free agents is hilarious and so lazy. Who do the Rangers sign this offseason? Artemi Panarin. For less money. You know who owns the Rangers?
Who?
Jim Dolan.
Let him in on a little secret.
Jim Dolan. Yeah.
Well, the problem
What about that?
I'm not saying James Dolan's the problem, but that Phil Jackson hire to me was the big problem. And you had Carmelo Anthony, who Jackson wanted the Knicks to buy out Melo's contract. Melo wanted to stay. This man carried you to 54 wins in 2012, basically by himself, and you're going to throw him to the garbage heap? I'm not saying it's definitely Dolan, but I think it could be both of them.
I don't know. It's got to be time. They got to build the right way for the Knicks, and I think you look at them and you say, build through the draft and hope guys like RJ, Frank, and DSJ can develop. That's the only way you can really win a team here.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we'll be right back here on Stick to Sports.
When we come back, one of our producers, Andy, will join Luke to talk about Snoop Dogg's risque performance.
Back to Stick to Sports alongside me. I have our producer, Andy Guidi. He's going to be hosting Andy Stories. And Andy, what do you got for me this week?
All right, Luke. After winning 17 games last season, the New York Knicks needed tough veterans like Marcus Morris on their squad. On media day, after a reporter asked him what the Knicks' identity will be this year, he responded saying that the team will fight like dogs, protect the garden, and that no one will disrespect them this season. That was certainly the case last night as Marcus Morris led the Knicks to a 104-99 victory over the Washington Wizards in their first preseason game. He scored 17 points in the first half, but was ejected in the third quarter for blatantly hitting Wizards forward Justin Anderson with the ball after some trash talking.
Let me tell you how I feel about this. So I like that mentality, for the Knicks. We want to be dogs, we want to fight. To me, this just looks like, hey, I'm getting clamped up and I'm frustrated. That's just what it looks like from my perspective.
I know from when you first look at it, it looks a little bit immature what he's doing. I'm not really a big fan of it, but I just like that he's showing the lead, showing everybody that the Knicks are not going to be played around with this year. That every game is going to be a fight. Every game we're gonna stay in it to the fourth. Hopefully, scratch some wins out. We're going to be a more competitive team this year. And as a Knicks fan, I'm very happy for that. I'm tired of being a laughing stock. So
yeah, it wasn't the best offseason in terms of free agency signings, but they did add these really nice veteran pieces, so I think that's a nice step forward for the Knicks. I mean, they didn't get KD and Kyrie, but they had a guy like Morris who's vocal in the locker room.
Yeah, I like how the team looks this year. I think we're 13, 14 deep. We have a nice mix of young guys and a nice mix of veterans that are good professionals. And I think we're going to surprise people this year. Mark my words, we're going to surprise people this year. Going to win more than 35 games. That's better than the last couple of years. So we're going to see what happens.
All right. So what's next on our slate?
Okay, it seems as if Kansas just can't catch a break. A week after receiving 5 NCAA Level 1 violations, including accusations for a pay-for-play scandal involving former players and an Adidas employee, Snoop Dogg goes and embarrasses the school with his provocative performance at Kansas' 35th annual Late Night in the Fog. His performance included dancers on stripping poles, fake money being shot out of a money gun, and numerous songs filled with profanities. Kansas athletic director Jeff Long gave an apology shortly after the performance, but it doesn't hide the tough couple of weeks for the Jayhawks ahead of the beginning of the college basketball season.
This is just an awful look. I mean, this is a team that's being investigated by the NCAA, and you have Snoop Dogg out there shooting money guns at strippers. This is not a good look for Kansas.
Kansas does look pretty bad right now, and it sucks for a program that is so well known around the country. They just keep taking L after L after L. Let's see how they rebound from this. Bill Self in the program is looking really bad right now, but I think they can turn it around.
Yeah, definitely. What's our third story, Andy?
Third story, China and the Houston Rockets won't be friends again anytime soon. A week after Rockets GM Daryl Morey posted a tweet supporting the pro-democracy efforts in Hong Kong, the Chinese Basketball Association decided to suspend its ties with the Houston Rockets. And to add insult to injury, the CBA canceled 2 G League exhibition games with the Rockets G League affiliate, the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. It's been a tough week for the squad as their reputation of being loved by the China community is being tarnished after Morey's tweets, and there seems to be no resolution for their relationship in sight. For a team with champion aspirations and that needs time to gel following the acquisition of Russell Westbrook, these distractions are not what they need right now.
Yeah, not good distractions. Also, this is a bad look to me on the part of the NBA. I mean, you have one of your guys just being pro-democracy, and you decide that you're going to side with the Chinese government just to protect your bank account. I don't love that at all. I really don't.
I just feel like it's one of those situations where you're supposed to mind your business. I feel like Daryl Morey, he loves to tweet, and I feel like this time he went a little bit overboard. They're getting a lot of slander from the Chinese community and from China in general. I just hope that that China could find a way to love the Rockets. They're such a good team. They're good people at heart. So we're gonna see what happens with that.
Right. And what's our last story, Andy?
Our last story is a couple more big plays from Yadier Molina and the St. Louis Cardinals. In Game 4 of the National League Division Series with the Cardinals facing elimination, Molina had 2 big plays to help his team secure the win. First, he tied the game at 4 apiece in the bottom of the 8th inning with a hit to right field that helped his teammate Paul Goldschmidt score. Then at the bottom of the 10th, with the game still tied, Molina went to bat and hit a deep sacrifice fly ball to left field that helped Colton Wong score and gives the Cardinals a 5-4 dub. The team was very happy after the win, jumping and hugging each other as Yadier threw his bat in joy. The winner takes all Game 5 is scheduled for Wednesday, and whoever goes on top will go on to play the winner of the Dodgers and National Series in NLCS.
This is an awesome moment. And Yadier Molina, we talked about him early in the show. Him and Adam Wainwright, really the pillars of this franchise. They've won World Series with this team in 2011, and this is just an awesome thing to see for a veteran guy.
Yeah, for a veteran guy, his career is not over yet, and he had a really good game yesterday. I was very happy to see his performance. It's so much emotion. I could feel the emotion for the video that I was watching, and we're gonna have a do or die Game 5 coming up, so we're gonna see what happens.
And the Cardinals live to fight another day. But that wraps up Andy's stories for the week. When we come back, Matt will join me for a One Big Thing. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Every week we'll have a cheer and jeer from around the sports world. First up is our cheer.
That's right. Let's start with our cheer. One cheer for Joey Bosa in the 49ers win over the Browns last night. The former Ohio State Buckeye sacked former Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield, and as we roll the tape, he planted the flag as Baker had done against Ohio State. The big cheer, Bosa did it in perfect sync. Must have been studying that tape.
Absolutely beautiful.
Look at that
the
side by
disrespect.
side.
Do the people just in the NBA or in the NFL just not like Baker Mayfield? Do they just hate him?
This is an awesome celebration. He was thinking about it for years, which might make it a little bit too petty.
It made it. No, I love the pettiness.
I
here.
love it so much.
I love it.
I love it.
Now moving on to our jeer of the week, the Buffalo Bills may have beat the Titans, but one Bills fan took a huge L this weekend.
The greatest.
And Luke, defend your people.
Well, the greatest part about this is the guy recording's like, is he dead? Like, no one has any idea what just happened.
But then no one moves to him. He's just like, is he dead? And then no one walks towards him.
Right.
So you're not going to
friends.
save him? Come on.
Really
Come on
bad
now.
friends. And now we're going to move on to our one big thing. I've been watching baseball since I was 5 years old. I'm talking full-on 9 innings of the Yankees or whatever team was on ESPN for as close to 162 games a year as possible. But for all those games, all the fun I had, I never became a baseball apologist. I understand baseball can be boring, and I don't argue against people that say it is. I don't think it needs extra flash for me personally, but anything to grow our national pastime, I'm all for. So when Ronald Acuna blasted a 45-foot moonshot into the October air and admired it for a minute, gave a nice little bat flip, I absolutely love that. Why do you think the NBA and NFL have relaxed on penalizing celebrations? Because we as fans crave that. We crave the Nick Bosa flag plant and the Gronk spike. We love to see athletes soaking up big moments. But one player who didn't like this was Cardinals pitcher Carlos Martinez, who served up that home run. He said Acuna disrespected both him and the game of baseball. Ironically, veteran Yadier Molina would quite literally throw his bat into the outfield after a Game 4 walk-off. The point I'm trying to make here is that bat flips are awesome. Celebrating doing something only a small percentage of people in this world can do on a giant national stage is awesome. Hey, Carlos Martinez, why don't you strike him out next time? Even get excited or point at him after doing it. Be better at your job and the bat flip won't come. And this, of course, goes to all the baseball minds. Don't you want to see this game grow? This is what makes the game fun. This is what a new generation of fans want to see. Stop thinking you're better than anyone else with your principles and let the kids play, damn it.
Last Thursday, the Maven took control of Sports Illustrated from their publication company, Meredith. In one obscene motion, Maven shattered the good name of SI and changed the landscape of sports journalism. Maven fired half the editorial staff, looking to create hyper-local sports communities where fans will contribute to the website under the name of SI. This can be compared to Fansided or SB Nation, and while sports is supposed to be fun, it's also a microcosm of society as a whole. In an era of fake news and distrust, sports media will surely lose trust because of Maven. While Sports Illustrated will, quote, continue its legacy, it will struggle. This was not a layoff due to profit. This was a purge. Sports Illustrated will still have tremendous credentialed writers who have access to teams, but it will not be the same. The Maven will transform SI into content farms focused on SEO, not journalism. And that is only the second biggest tragedy of this story. The biggest being the people. Many amazing, talented people lost their jobs, ripped from them for no good. On Twitter, the hashtag SaveSI went viral, and the sports world pleaded with SI's owner to reconsider. And that'll do it for Stick to Sports. I'm Matt Wadling for Luke Owens. Have a good night.